Hi, this is Dana Rocky, and in my previous two sleep apnea videos, we went through really what the definition of sleep apnea was, its importance relative to the oral systemic component, and how far-reaching medically the effects of if you have a significant apnea issue with yourself. And I also went through the idea that we as dentists, although we can't officially make the diagnosis for sleep apnea, we are in a unique position to be able to help screen and educate our patients if they may have such an issue and get them pointed in the right direction of getting any necessary treatment that would be required. It's that important because it can seriously affect you medically. We went through the screening process before, and the goal of the screening process is to get you tested, and when you get you tested, whether it be in home or in a laboratory, we gather data. When we get the report back, this is what we get. We get data in list form like this, and it talks about how many hours you slept, it talks about how many hours of good testable sleeping you did, it talks about oxygen saturation levels, in other words, what your blood oxygen level is, which is important for us to read. It talks about your heart rate, it talks about snoring, it talks about the position of you, whether you're laying on your back, whether you're laying on your side, etc., how many times you were awakened, maybe violently, to restart your breathing process again, and how all that correlates. So we get all this data, and when we get this report back, this is what I review with my dental patients and try and help make some sense of this to them, why it's important to look into this further if the results are significant. So we got our list form, and they're put together, and we can really sit down and analyze that. The grafting is done with the data. Here's day one that was done, and in the home sleep testing, it was usually done over a 2-night time frame. Here's the second day, and although you probably can't see all the particular numbers and the small numbers and letters over here, just know that we do it over time, and these are the different areas that I was talking about. We were talking about whether you were asleep or awake, how you were awakened, oxygen saturation, this is your head position, again, awakened or not. Here's the snoring component here, here's the heart rate, and I'll just make one general statement that as we look down in this particular area here, we see the apnea issues corresponding to lowered oxygen level, to poor head position on your back, being awakened multiple times to breathe, and then a very heavy snoring component during that period of time, and then an elevated heart rate. So we can look down at this particular point in time towards the end of the sleeping period that was tested. We can actually logically see through exactly what's happening here, and that's important for us to take a quick look at this and be able to look at the graphs and say, wow, there's significant problems periodically at night, and that's the key. All of this leading up to what I refer to as the holy grail of sleep testing, albeit home or in lab, is the report. And this is generated and signed by a medical licensed individual that can make this official diagnosis, and at least at the top that puts us exactly where we want to know. Of course, there's verbiage here that talks about previous findings that we had, whether there's a family history of this, weight, body mass index, hypertension, etc. that kind of helps build the case. The bottom line is right here. We're looking for something, a score. We're looking for something called an AHI. Some people use RDI, but this is apnea hypopnea index right here. That would be the number of events of struggling to breathe at night per hour. And we're getting a mean component here, and in this particular case, we get a number. Depending on where that number is, it indicates the severity of the problem, whether you're mild, you're moderate, or you're severe. And in my next video, I will go over exactly what the results of that is and what may need to be done in treatment options.